81333 on the text. Start your message with the word Leicester. We've got Mental Health Matters coming up. Dan Harrison King, author of the Babel Crime books. You are also correct. He says the film is... yep, you're right. And he says, I also know your author who is on. He's a great guy, and I'm looking forward to hearing all about his book. So big shout to... Dan sat in the green room now. He's like, what? Who's he even talking about? I don't know who he could possibly mean. Anyway, Lee Spencer, you are correct as well. Sal and Daz in New Parks, you are correct. Absolute tune. Jake Ellis, that is Centrefold here on BBC Radio Leicester. You're on with me, Andy P. Now, mental health matters. You know it does. That's why we talk about it every single week here on my show, because talking about it just helps breaking the stigma around opening up and speaking about how we're feeling. That's just one reason why I'm talking to my next guest. Now, I've known him as a musician before now, but he's now an author. I can't wait to chat to him. A couple more stats about mental health for you right now. 1 in 6 people, or approximately as it is 45.8 million adults, are reporting experiencing symptoms of common mental health problems like anxiety, depression. That is in any given week here in England. Talking about your problems, opening up, can help. It really can. If you are struggling, there are always resources available for anyone. Help is there. Help does not discriminate. It does not see age, race, religion, colour, anything like that. Help is there for everyone. This is Mental Health Matters with me, Andy P. Today's guest is Dan Harrison King. How are you doing, Dan?
I'm all right. How are you?
Oh, mate, I'm all good. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I wanted to talk to someone who is open about their mental health as well, and who has gone one step further like you have, and you've created this world sort of twinned within a mental health aspect, haven't you?
Yeah, so the books are based basically on aspects of mental health that I'm suffering from, and I find that writing is a great therapy for me. This one book that I've released so far is called Babel Crime, the Beginning, and it's book 1, and I have book 2 here to the left of me, which I'm currently writing. But they say in write about what you know, and this is a book about futuristic gangsters and, you know, futuristic crime, and, you know, the way the future is in the year of 2230 or something like that. So what do I know about that? But it's all an allegory and symbolism for mental health. So
and how is that interpreted? How does that work?
So I don't want to go into too much details about what the symbolism is, because I would think it's for other people to interpret it. But so I've got an epigraph on the first page, page 7 at the beginning of the book, and it reads, "All should be viewed as one." So I'm telling the reader to basically look at the entire book, even though there's many characters in the book, and it takes place in a city called Babel, which was formed after a great war in the future. It all should be viewed as one element, and that could give some kind of clue as to what the symbolism of the book is and how it should be interpreted, even though, you know, there's this person, that person, they're doing this, they're interacting with this, you know, and the events of the book.
I think it's so intricate, the world that you have created. It's, I suppose, actually thinking about it, it's very like Terry Pratchett-esque, like how vast it is. Because in your letter that you sent, I was reading, and you've got 23 novels planned, other ideas, but part of this series, there's 6 books planned. That's right.
Yeah. So the 6 books planned of this. So the one that's come out now, which is available, is Babel Crime, the Beginning, book 1. I've got book 2 here, which I'm still writing, and then for the next 2 stories, there's going to be 2 books each, and that would be part of the 6-book series. The other stories that I've got in the works, which are all at different various levels of completion, all take place within this same world. So stuff that's in the prologue of this book has already been long established. I wrote it. Yeah, I've been writing these since 2019, I'd say. And writing in general, I've been doing that since I was a kid, so 90s. Really.
So how did you find writing? Like, was that just something, like you say you started as a kid, was that like an escape for you, or?
Writing, so when I was very young, I made my own books in terms of like sellotaping paper together, writing on it in really bad handwriting, and it was the goodies versus the baddies on a spaceship, and kids story. But then when I went to college, I started to look into working into script writing and screenplay writing for films and stuff like that. So I developed my skills in college there, and then went on to music, which is also, my other love of music and film and making the music videos for my music. And then, so I picked up writing again back in 2019. I saw you in 2019, I think, in January.
That was with a track that you'd brought out.
Ti Amo.
Yeah, that's the one. I remember it now.
Yeah.
So how did you go from? I suppose like you said, you've always been writing, but have you sort of put a hiatus on the music career now and focusing more on the books, or?
Well, I've got an idea for another song, and I'm playing piano all the time, and I've recorded piano, like on MIDI and stuff like that. So to keep a record of all these different tunes that I've worked out. But in 2019, a couple of months after I saw you, I had basically a nervous breakdown, a mental health episode where I actually sent myself to A&E.
Really?
It was that bad, and it was just a really bad time. And then after that, coming out of that and getting help and getting on...
what sort of help did you receive, and how were you received when you... We'll call it the system. When you went to the system and you asked for help, how did that go for you?
Yeah, so basically I tried to hold off... I suffer from OCD, and I've known that I've had OCD for many, many years from it flared up. I think it's always been there since I was a child, and it flared up majorly in my teenage years. And then in 2019 it flared up, and I'm like, okay, this is OCD with intrusive thoughts, checking and doing stuff, it's called rumination, and doing testing and stuff like that. Like when people say OCD, they think like, oh, you have to line everything up and stuff like that. I don't do that at all, but I have OCD in terms of I have to do rituals, sometimes mental rituals, sometimes physical rituals, in order to get rid of anxiety and make sure that the intrusive thoughts are not reflective of my character. And so that's where the OCD comes into it, and I've been told it's OCD. So
you found that. So what sort of coping mechanisms do you have to cope with it?
With OCD, I do this thing where I do like press my finger against my thumb when I want to make sure that my thoughts are what I need, what I want to have, and the thoughts that are right and stuff like that. It is, so every day is a battle basically, and but there's other things as well that there's too many to mention in terms of like rituals and stuff to do like that. But
and how did the help you? How
relieves anxiety, but it is a temporary thing with OCD, unless you get the therapy and the seeking. Another one is seeking reassurance from people, asking people questions, but then that is only temporary as well, because it's you seek reassurance, it lasts for a little bit, then you've got to seek reassurance again. It's a never-ending cycle. It just keeps going round like that.
And you say that the writing helps you. It helps relieve.
Yeah, so it takes me away to a world where none of this OCD really matters, other than that and being asleep, because I very rarely get OCD when I'm asleep in dreams at all. So it's like living out a life that you want, but you're in your own head and you're asleep, so it's not really that great to as a life. But so 2019 I went to A&E because it just got too much, and I broke down crying there and explained what was going on, how bad things have got, and they put me on the track to therapy. Excuse me. And so they've been put on medications for dealing with this anxiety and these thoughts and stuff like that.
It seems, it seems to be doing its trick, and I'm glad that you sought for help and you got the help that is out there. Let's go back to the book itself. And do you have plans? Before we talk about this one, the next one, do you have plans of when that's going to be coming out, or is that just as and when it's finished? As and when
it's finished. I want to try and get it out early next year.
Okay.
But it would be a constant thing. I'm currently, my laptop at home has got the prologue loaded up, and I write every now and then, as I can, work with work permitting and stuff like that. But just to write it all out, finish this is 60,000 words so far, and I get up to around about 80,000 words, which is what the first book is. And then go through it, edit it myself. I haven't got an editor, so I have to go through it, draft it, and everything like that. So yeah.
And all the artwork. So in this book, and I think Dan sort of downplays it a little bit, if I'm honest with you. This world that he has created, in the book, it's you've got all these drawings that depict like the futuristic trees that clean the air.
Yeah, super trees. Yeah.
You've got drawings that depict the hierarchy of the policing systems.
Yeah.
It's so intricate.
Yeah, because it's a way for my mind to just go explore, and to just create. I love creating things. So.
I think it's absolutely phenomenal. Dan, where can people get hold of this book?
Okay, so so go on danharrisonking.com. There's all the links to my socials on there. And if you Google Babel Crime Dan Harrison King, and
you'll get all the info that you need.
Yeah, there is a main website. Am I allowed to say it?
Crack on, yeah.
Amazon.com.
There you go. Is it? I'm assuming it's available on other book websites.
I believe so. Barnes and Noble, I saw it on as well.
There you go.
I didn't even give it to them, but they seem to have a copy or copies of it. So
perfect.
There we go.
Dan, thank you so much for coming on the show. I wish you all the best with it. I can't wait to continue reading it. I'm only a little bit of the way through myself, but I'm enjoying it, and I can't wait to finish it and then get me mitts on that one when it's done. All right?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Absolute deal. You're more than welcome. That's Dan Harrison King, author of Babel Crime. Get hold of it. It's intricate and it looks phenomenal.